Hello everyone, welcome to Mastering Mathematics. My name is Danielle Siraj and I am here to take you through this tutorial on construction. If you're not familiar with construction, we're starting from the basics, moving all the way to how we construct a quadrilateral. In today's particular session, we are going to be looking at the following objectives. So be sure that you have yourself prepared with a geometry set as well as paper so that you can follow along with the processes as we go through today's tutorial. Be sure to tune in for future tutorials. If you do enjoy this tutorial, be sure to hit the thumbs up below and subscribe. And be sure to share with your fellow classmates who are also in the process of preparing for their CSEC exams. Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial on construction. In today's tutorial we're going to be looking at the May 2015 question 3 part B question, and this question involves the construction of a right-angled triangle. The question, part B, says, using a ruler, a pencil, and a pair of compasses, construct triangle ABC with AB equal to 9 centimeters, angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees, and BC is equal to 6 centimeters. Once you have constructed your triangle, the following questions are going to be involved with this particular diagram, and the second part being measure and state the size of angle BAC, which will in fact be testing your accuracy with drawing your triangle. And the third part on the diagram shows that the point D such that ABCD is a parallelogram. We're going to take a look at how we perform these tasks so that we are going to get all our marks on this question. We're able to construct a triangle accurately using our compasses and rulers. Once we're able to construct our triangle with precision, we will also look at the use of the protractor for measuring angles and how to read it properly and accurately. And the last part, which is about constructing the parallelogram using our existing triangle. So let's get started with the first part. We're looking at constructing our triangle using a pencil and a pair of compasses. So the first thing we need to do is go to our geometry set and we're going to locate the instruments we need. You definitely want to make sure that you have your ruler handy because this comes in as very useful when you have to construct your line segments. As mentioned, we will be looking at the use of the protractor, so you want to keep this nearby and easy to find. So today's first part we're dealing with the construction involves our compass. Our compass is this particular instrument which involves this pivot point and this side, which is usually used to accommodate the use of a pencil. So remember, when you're doing construction, make sure to have a ruler, pencil, a pair of compasses, as well as a protractor. Now let's look at how we use our compass. Always ensure when you are using your compass, you secure the pencil properly so that it does not slip or slide out. because this will affect the accuracy of your diagram. So now what we'll do, we ensure that we turn the screw to the side here so that the pencil is snug, so you notice that it doesn't wiggle around too much or anything sliding forward or backward. The next part of using our compass, which is this point, always ensure when you place your compass point onto your surface where you'll be drawing, you do not want your point to move all over. So you always want to ensure that when you're using your compass, you are able to place your compass point on your page in such a way that you are able to swing the arm of the compass with pencil freely, such that your point does not shift from its location. When using your compass, you also want to ensure that you always hold your compass at this top handle. This enables you to turn your compass with ease. It takes a little doing, but it is necessary to ensure that you always use your compass properly, because if you try to construct any line segment with your compass by forcefully holding onto the arms, this will change the measurement of the opening and it will change the measurement of the line segment you'll construct. So always ensure that you hold your compass at the handle at the top. Aside from wanting to ensure that you don't squeeze these arms, not all compasses have a very firm security for the arms, so the slightest touch on any of the arms could affect your measurement, and this is the reason why it's good practice to always hold your compass at the point at the top here. Remember, when you're using your compasses, you want to always ensure that the pencil is secure. And once you have this pencil in place properly and you can hold your compasses properly, you'll have no trouble with constructing any line segments. So let's move on to this session all about constructing line segments. Now it's important to make note of the information, and when you're constructing a triangle in particular, where they give you two line segments and an angle, you need to know how to construct these line segments such that this angle can be easily formed using these line segments as the arms of the angle. When we look at this particular question, the question states that AB is 9 centimeters, angle ABC is 90 degrees, and BC is 6 centimeters. We need to know how we interpret this bit so that we make the most of the information provided to us. Angle ABC. Notice that the angle here is stated using vertex notation. So using the vertex notation, we need to know that the angle is formed at the vertex at the center of this notation. Since they told us angle ABC, this means that the angle is going to be formed at vertex B. Notice the line segments information that we're given. We're given the line segment AB, which is 9 centimeters, as well as the line segment BC, which is 6 centimeters. For this reason, we are going to construct the angle using the intersection of the lines AB and BC. To start this particular problem, we're going to start off by constructing our line segment AB, which is a 9 centimeter line segment. Now, when they say to construct a line segment, they are not speaking about simply taking a ruler and drawing a straight line. we're going to start our construction, and we're going to begin with forming a line segment. To construct our line segment, we must first begin by drawing a line. We're going to draw a line using our ruler and our pencil. The reason for this, our line segment is going to be formed on this particular line, and we need to ensure that we give ourselves as much space as needed to construct our line segment. For this reason, we're going to go to about halfway along the page. I'm going to place my ruler and using my centimeter measurement size. So my ruler gives me measurements in centimeters and millimeters. So I'm using my centimeter side, and I'm going to draw the longest possible line. I'm not going to mark off any points on this line as yet. So I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to go the full length of my ruler. There we go. So we have drawn our line. The next part of our construction process involves the construction of the line segment itself. What we're going to do is take our compass. We're going to take the compass point and place it at the 0 mark on our ruler. What we're about to do is measure the opening of the arms so that we can construct a line segment of the desired length. So the first thing we're going to do, put our compass point on our ruler mark at 0. I'm going to hold it firmly at this point as best as possible so that the arm doesn't move, and I'm going to extend my arm to my desired length. So my pencil point should be at about 9 centimeters. Alright, so the rule is clear, so you might not be able to see it too clearly, but that's about 9 centimeters right there. Now I'm going to place my compass point on one end of my line. So I'm putting the compass point here. Now you don't necessarily have to go exactly at the beginning of your line or in the middle of it. You just want to make sure that you give yourself enough space to construct the line segment of 9 centimeters. So I'm placing my point there, and I'm going to make a tiny little swing over this line so that I create an arc. And now I'm going to repeat the process as follows. I'm going to put my compass point on the intersection of the arc I just constructed and my line, and I'm going to swing my compass over this line again, creating another arc. In doing this, I have constructed my line segment AB. All that's left for me to do is label the point AB as well as the length of my line segment. Labeling my line segment endpoint A and endpoint B. So this is my line segment AB. And now I'm going to label the length of the line segment, which is 9 centimeters. Now let's talk about the second part of our construction. We've just successfully constructed a 9 centimeter line segment. And if you'd like to just see how accurate you were with drawing your line segment, you can take your ruler and measure from endpoint to endpoint. And if you get 9 centimeters, excellent job. So there we go. We can see that our line segment is 9 centimeters. If you did not get a 9 centimeter line segment and it's off by probably like 0.1 of a centimeter, just know that with practice, you will be able to successfully construct a line segment with the desired precision. Be sure to make notes of the process. You're going to be using it again as we construct our triangle. Now let's move on to the second part of our construction, which involves constructing an angle. Now I know many students are very tempted to do this. Take a protractor and simply draw in your angle, but that's not what they want. to construct our angle, there's a procedure we must follow. And for this particular angle, we're constructing a 90-degree angle. Now, there are a couple ways you can do this, and one involves the bisector of a line, but we know that for this particular question, we can't really use the bisector of the line segment AB, simply because the line BC connects with AB at the point B, so it will not run through AB. So what we're going to use to create our 90-degree angle is as follows. We're going to take our compass and we're going to close in this line segment to probably a little less than half the previous opening. The reason we're doing this, where I have my point B, I'm going to create an arc around B. And this is what is going to help me with the construction of my 90-degree angle. What I'm going to do now, using my compass as it is, I am going to just make sure I adjust the pencil a little bit, because I noticed that that I have the compass point a little lower than my pencil point, and I want to make sure that I'm able to see my arc. So I'll just make that adjustment quickly so that I'll be able to create my arc. Right. Now, always remember when you are adjusting the pencil with the compass, two things. You don't want your pencil to be higher than your compass point, else you will not be able to construct any arcs or line segments. And you don't want it to be lower than your compass point, because that can cause your pencil to basically force the compass point off the page, and you won't get the accuracy that you truly desire. So let's work on constructing this little arc to start the construction of our 90-degree angle. Now, you can close in your compass a little more if you'd like, but this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create an arc to the left of my point B, as well as to the right of my point B. Now, you can also do a full 360-degree circle around the point B if you'd so like, or you could simply do a semicircular arc about the point B from the left of B to the right of B. All of these help with the accommodation you need to construct your 90-degree angle. Put my compass a little bit, let's say double the size of this opening, this present opening. So about there. What I'm going to do from here now is place my compass point on the point of intersection of my arc and my line segment, and I'm going to form an arc above the line and ensuring that it passes at least above B. So this is the arc that I just constructed. Now we're going to repeat this process from the arc at the right. So I'll place my compass point at this point of intersection with the arc and the line, and I'm going to create another arc from my line up through my previously constructed arc over B. Now the important thing here is to ensure that these two new arcs can in fact intersect with one another. You don't necessarily need to go all the way back, but the important thing is to ensure that you can see a point of intersection between these two arcs. So if you look here, you can see the point of intersection right over here. So you can put a dot to mark off this point. And this point is particularly important for us in the construction of our line segment BC, as well as our construction of the angle ABC. So I label my point, And the next thing that we do once we have our point labeled, so I try to double so that way you can see it. Okay, now what we're doing is constructing a line. But before we can construct the full line segment, what we're going to do is construct the arm of the angle ABC. So we're constructing the second arm of the angle. That way we will form a 90-degree angle. So what we do from here is simply draw a line from the point B through this point of intersection upwards. Okay, now you don't necessarily need to go all the way up the page, but this is a line which forms the second arm of our angle, ABC. And if you look at it, you can tell that it looks like a 90-degree angle. So you can label your 90-degree angle. And if you want to just see how accurate you are with your construction, take your protractor, measure it, and see if you get a 90-degree angle. Okay, so let's talk about labeling. Make sure that when we label our 90-degree angle, we label our right angle as we usually denote it. Okay, so that's our 90-degree angle. Now, the last part that we need to do would be to complete the triangle, but before we do this, we have to construct our line segment BC properly. We only have a line from B, we don't have the line segment. We need to do the same process we did for AB, but we're going to do it with this particular line from B. Our line segment BC has a length of 6 centimeters. So what we're going to do, take our compass and our ruler and measure out an opening of 6 centimeters. So this is also another way you can measure the opening of your compass. Place your ruler on your surface, place your compass points at 0, and open your compass to 6 centimeters. So that's almost 6. Wow, it's pretty good. Okay, so I'm just gonna adjust it a little bit. So that's 6.1. So I have my compass open to 6 centimeters. You should also have your compass open to 6 centimeters at this point in time. And now let's talk about constructing this line segment BC. We'll start by placing our compass point at B, making an arc on our line. And remember, because we're constructing a line segment, we want to make sure that we get a 6 centimeter line segment. We place our compass point back at this particular arc we just constructed and pass the arm of the compass so that we form the second endpoint of our line segment. So it forms exactly where it should because we wanted to create a line segment BC of 6 centimeters. All that's left for me to do, label my points and put in the length of my line segment. So my line segment BC has a length of 6 centimeters. The last part of this is simply to construct the line segment which will form our triangle. And this particular line segment is going to form the hypotenuse of our right angle triangle. We are going to connect the points A and C to each other via a straight line. Does not require any compass whatsoever. So all we're going to do is take our ruler, draw our line, and connect the points A and C, and we have ourselves our triangle ABC. Alright, so we're going to move on to the second part of the question, which tells us to measure the angle BAC. We're going to locate on our triangle firstly these vertices B, A, and C and identify the angle formed with these line segments according to the order of those vertices. So if I look at my diagram, I'm going to locate the first vertex mentioned, which is B. So my vertex B is over here at my right angle. Next, I'm going to locate the vertex A, which is at the beginning of our line segment AB, and our third vertex C, which is at the apex of our triangle. The angle formed by these three vertices in that particular order, BAC, is formed at the point A. So I'm just going to put a little arc to identify that angle. So that's the angle that I want to measure, angle formed at vertex A. We're going to take our protractor now, and we're going to get familiar with the use of the protractor if we feel a little rusty on the use of a protractor to measure the magnitude of angles. Let's start by looking at our protractor. Our protractor, always remember, it measures angles in degrees, and our center line is our 90-degree angle. Each of the major graduation marks on our protractor measures 10 degrees, and if you look carefully, you'll see the minor graduation marks, each one representing 1 degree. When you are using your protractor, always ensure that you line up your baseline of your protractor with the baseline or the lowest arm of your angle. So in this particular question, where we're going to be measuring the angle BAC, we're going to line up our baseline of our protractor with our line segment AB. When I place my protractor down on my diagram, the first thing I want to ensure is that the baseline is in line with my line segment AB. So here it is, you can see it's more or less lined up there. Now the next thing I want to do, now that my protractor's baseline is in line with the baseline arm of my angle, I want to ensure that the center of my protractor is in line with that point of my angle. So I'm going to shift my protractor a little bit because I'm noticing it's a little off. So obviously it's going to be much easier to do on a flat, sturdy surface. Alright, so that looks lined up there for me. So first, my baselines are lined up, and then my protractor center line is in line with my vertex. So what I'm going to do from here now, just shift it a little bit. What I'm going to do from here now is read the magnitude of my angle. Now, depending on the accuracy of your diagram, the magnitude of your angle is also going to be affected by this. First of all, if I'm reading off the magnitude of the angle, what I want to do is locate the line on the protractor which lines up with my upper arm of my angle. So my line segment AC looks as though it lines up with a minor graduation mark in the protractor. So if I look carefully, it looks as though it's lining up with 33. Alright, so I'm getting that my angle has a magnitude of 33 degrees. Alright, so ensure that you state the magnitude of your angle as your answer for this question, because this is what is going to give you your marks. When it comes down to the accuracy of using your instruments, constructing your diagrams, this particular question will be rewarding you marks based on how close your answer is to the actual range of values. For instance, let's say the actual answer should have been 30 degrees. They may not reward the mark for the 33 degrees because it's too much out of the range of acceptable values. They may take a degree above or a degree below, but definitely nothing way out of that particular range. Okay? So let's just take a look at the rest of angles and we'll see how these particular angles will measure up. Let's check our 90-degree angle. Let's see how accurate were we with constructing the 90-degree angle. And it looks as though we were able to construct our 90-degree angle with 100% precision. Alright, let's take a look at our next angle formed at C. So it's a little less than 60 degrees. That's about 57. Yes, this lines up with 57. So just note that in doing your construction, it's all about that accuracy and precision. And based on the accuracy of your use of your instruments, you'll be able to construct this triangle with ease. Now we're going to move on to the third part, which is to construct the parallelogram using our triangle. They asked for us to show the point D such that ABCD is a parallelogram. To do this accurately, what you should do is use your compasses to ensure that you construct the line segments appropriately. Now, the first thing that we must understand in order to do this particular problem, we must be able to identify the properties of a parallelogram and use these specifically for the construction. When we talk about a parallelogram, we must recall that pairs of opposite sides in a parallelogram are parallel to each other, and this also means that they are of similar lengths. To do our construction, what we're going to do is, first of all, measure the line segment length for this particular line that is going to be parallel to the line segment AB. We know that the line segment AB is 9 centimeters, and what we're going to do now is take our compasses, open the arms of the compass until we have a 9 centimeter opening. This is going to help us with constructing our 9 centimeter line segment, which will be parallel to AB. Now, when we construct our diagram, we're constructing a line segment which is parallel to the line BC, which will have the same length as BC. So this line segment will form at point E, and it will have a length of 6 centimeters. Likewise, we are forming a line opposite to line segment AB, so its length should be 9 centimeters. To do this, the first thing we're going to do is construct the line segments using the method we've used before to construct the line segments AB and C. But first of all, we must decide which line we're going to construct and open our compass to that particular length so that we can start the construction process. Now, the next thing that we need to be mindful of is that with our parallelogram, we want to ensure that in constructing the parallelogram, the angles maintain their internal angle properties. For instance, if we are constructing a parallelogram where we already have a 90-degree angle involved. That should tell us something. That should tell us that the internal angles of this particular parallelogram should sum to 360 degrees, which means that the other angles should also sum to that 360 by being 90 degrees each. For this reason, we're going to begin our construction process by constructing a 90-degree angle at the points in question, which would be A and C. And where these lines intersect should also form a 90-degree angle, thereby giving us the parallelogram. And we're going to start our process first. We're going to start our process first by constructing the 90-degree angle at the vertex A. And from there, we will repeat the process at C, then move forward to getting the line segments AD and CD. So let's begin with constructing the 90-degree angle at vertex A. First, we're going to take our compass. We're going to ensure that we have an opening so that we can create an arc about the point A. Now let's construct the arc around point A. We want to make sure that we can see our arc clearly. Now the points Now we're going to use the points where the arc intersects with our line segments AB. So we do have a piece of the line on which AB stands, and we're going to use this little piece of projection as well as the point of intersection with our arc to help us with constructing our 90-degree angle. So what I'll do is open my compass to a little more than that previous opening, and I'm going to place my compass point at the point A. I'm going to make an arc above the point A. Now I'm going to repeat the same process using the same opening and place my compass point on my second intersection point of the arc and line segment AB. And I'll do another arc to intersect with that previous arc. So notice here we can see that the arcs that we've made intersect at a point. So I'm just going to put in a little horizontal. I'm going to put in a vertical stroke to just mark off where this line is. Going to run. Now I'm not taking this as the point as yet because I did indicate that this particular point D is a point of intersection between two line segments, AD and CD. So I'm going to close my arms in a bit to create my arc at C. I place my compass point on the vertex C, and I'm going to create my arc. Just one close to it. So let's create our arc. Right, so you may notice at times that the arc doesn't form completely. It depends on the pressure you put and the way in which you swing the arm of the compass. Again, we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to open the arms of my compass to a little more than that previous opening, and I'm going to repeat the process from these points where my arc intersects with my line segment, and I'm creating arcs just above my point C. Remember, these arcs must also intersect because we're going to be creating a line segment to pass through that point of intersection. So I notice where my arcs intersect, and I'm going to make a horizontal stroke just to mark off that point. Now let's talk about constructing the line segments we desire. I'm going to first draw lines from the point A through that point of intersection above A, and I'm going to repeat that process from the vertex C through the point of intersection of those arcs. Then I'm going to accurately construct the line segments of length 6 centimeters and 9 centimeters respectively, and we will create our parallelogram and be able to define the location of point D. Okay, so there I have created my 2 line segments, and I noticed that they meet at a point, so I'll just mark this point. And that's how we construct our parallelogram using the information that we had and the previous diagram. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, if you found it simple to follow, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to us to see future content and simply to help yourself with getting prepared for CSEC exams. Thanks very much for watching, and you can look forward to some more content coming soon on this channel.